At 84 years old, I have learned many things about life. But there is one decision that keeps me awake every night, a decision that, if I could turn back time, I would do everything to avoid. Back then, I thought I was doing the right thing. I believed I was choosing a safer path. But no one told me that once I stepped in, I would never be myself again. Nursing home. Those two words sound like a place full of care, comfort, and peace. At least, that's what I had heard. My family advised me that this would be the best option, that I would have my meals taken care of, without worrying about anything. I believed them. I used to believe. But then, when the door closed behind me, I realized a truth that no one prepared me for. Life in a nursing home is not just a change of residence. It is an irreversible trade-off. I have lost more than I ever thought. I know you might also be considering this choice. Perhaps for yourself or for your parents, your loved ones. You might think it is the best solution, the safest path. But before you make that decision, I want to share with you 6 things I wish I had known before setting foot here. Because the truth is, once you enter, you will no longer be the person you once knew. And leaving is not as simple as you think. Stay with me until the end of the video, as some things I am about to say may surprise you. And if you know someone who is thinking about entering a nursing home, this video could be the most important thing they need to hear before it's too late. Let's begin. Regret number 1. Losing freedom. On the first day I entered the nursing home, I didn't think that everything would change so quickly. I brought along a few favorite books, some family photos, and told myself that this was just a small adjustment. But as soon as I opened my eyes the next morning, I realized a bitter truth. I no longer had the right to decide my own life. At home, I chose when to wake up, when to have breakfast, when to go for a walk. If I wanted to sit on the porch sipping a cup of tea in the late afternoon, no one stopped me. But here, everything is predetermined. Breakfast is at 7 o'clock, whether I am hungry or not. The lights go out at 9 o'clock at night, whether I want to read or am not sleepy yet. I remember the day I wanted to go out for a stroll, to breathe fresh air. But instead of just stepping out the door like before, I had to wait for someone to take me. And if the staff was busy that day, I would have to sit and wait, or worse, miss out on that desire. Those small decisions, like what to wear, what to eat, what to do with my day, are no longer mine. I am no longer the master of my own life. And the saddest part? Once you lose your freedom, getting it back is nearly impossible. Ask yourself, are you ready for someone else to decide everything for you? Regret number 2. The feeling of being forgotten. When I moved into the nursing home, my daughter hugged me tightly and said she would come to visit me every week. At that moment, I believed her. I believed that my family would always be there for me. And in the first few weeks, they kept their promise. They visited me, brought fruit, and shared stories about their work and lives. The grandchildren still hugged me tightly like before. But then, one day, a phone call replaced the visit. A message replaced the phone call. And then, the promises became postponed appointments. For the first time, I spent an entire birthday just with the cake left in my room. I blew out the candles alone. I realized that no matter how much my family loved me, when I no longer appeared in their daily lives, I gradually became a faint shadow in their minds. I am not the only one experiencing this. I look around and see other aged faces, each waiting for a call, a visit, a reminder that they are still important. And as the days pass in silence, we all understand that once you are here, it is very easy to be forgotten. If you are considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready for the world out there to continue without you? Regret number 3. Losing the purpose of life. Before, every morning I woke up with something to do. I took care of my little garden, brewed a cup of coffee just the way I liked it, watered the potted plants on the front porch. I felt meaningful, even with the small tasks. But when I entered the nursing home, all of that vanished. I didn't need to cook because meals were served. I didn't need to clean because staff did it for me. It sounded convenient, but I quickly realized that when you have nothing to do, you also lose your reason to get up in the morning. I met a man named Thomas, who was once a skilled carpenter. He used to spend hours every day in his small workshop, creating beautiful things with his strong hands. But here, he had no tools, no workshop, nothing to build. He sat there, looking at his hands, and told me, "I have nothing left to do." And I understood. When you can no longer contribute, you start to feel like you no longer exist. Ask yourself, can you live without having something to look forward to each day? Regret number 4, declining health faster. Before coming here, I was not as agile as before, but I could still move around by myself, take care of myself. I still took walks every afternoon, still stood in the kitchen preparing a simple meal. Those little activities helped me maintain my health. But in the nursing home, everything is designed to help me. No need to cook, no need to clean, no need to move around much. At first, I thought it was convenience. But just a few months later, I realized my body was changing. I was sitting more, moving less, and soon I felt my legs growing weaker. Standing up from a chair became difficult. I saw people who used to walk around the house now relying on wheelchairs. Alice, a friend of mine, once said that she felt like she aged a decade in just 1 year. And I felt the same way. Ask yourself, are you ready for your health to slip away faster than you think? Regret number 5, losing privacy and dignity. At home, I have my own space. I close the door when I need quiet. I decide who can enter my room. But here, privacy is a luxury. Staff come in and out of my room at any time, checking and cleaning. If I want a shower, I might have to wait for someone to have time to help me. If I need to use the toilet, I might have to ring a bell and wait. One day, while I was changing clothes, the door opened without anyone knocking. I stood there, confused and embarrassed, but I could do nothing else. I no longer have control over my private moments. Ask yourself, are you willing to give up your own privacy? Regret number 6, leaving is not as easy as you think. I thought I could try living here for a while, and if I didn't like it, I could go back home. But I was wrong. After some time not using the old house, it is no longer an easy place to return to. My family has started to change it, even considering selling it. And then, when I realized that I wanted to leave here, I no longer had the strength I once had to live alone. Getting in is easy, but getting out is harder than you think. Ask yourself, are you sure that you will have the chance to return to your old life? Looking back, I do not regret getting older. That is something no one can avoid. But I regret believing that a nursing home was the only option. I entered with the hope of an easier life, but no one told me that the price to pay was my freedom, privacy, health, and even the meaning of my life. Does this mean that all nursing homes are bad? Not necessarily. There are good places, dedicated staff, and people who truly need this care. But what few talk about is that once you enter there, things will never be the same again. Life will no longer be decided by you. The habits that made you who you are will gradually disappear, and before you realize it, you have become a part of the system, no longer yourself. If I could start over, I would do everything to keep the life I have. I would seek help right at home instead of leaving. I would fight for my freedom longer and stronger. And if you are considering entering a nursing home, I hope you will think carefully. Not because it is the easiest thing to do, but because it truly is the best thing for you. Do you have any other options? Can you continue living in your own home with support from family or home care services? Can you find communities for seniors while still maintaining your self-determination? Don't let others make decisions for you before you truly understand what awaits you ahead. The life you have today, despite the challenges, is still yours. The choices, the decisions, the little habits you love, they all matter more than you think. And once you let them slip away, getting them back is not as easy as you might think.